Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video, we're going to do a team update for the NRL Fantasy squad going into the 2026 season. So, did a video when it first opened up, quickly put together a team. Since had an opportunity to have a bit more of a think about it, have a play around with the prices, have a look at a little bit of content. Probably haven't got through as much as I would like to really sort of nail down these decisions. So a lot of this is based off just gut feel and the like. Um, but we'll go through it. And again, if you've got any questions or suggestions or concerns for my well-being, feel free to add them below this video. But at hooker, I have changed it up a bit. I've gone with Chris Randall. So it sounds like with the injury to Jamin Jolliffe there at the Titans, that Big Tino is going to move into the front row and Randall's going to slot in and play that lock forward role. And we know that he's capable of playing big minutes. You know, he's capable of defending in the middle. He is a bit of a bigger body, although he was originally a hooker. So very much in that sort of Aaron Clark type mould. Not sort of suggesting he will score as well as Aaron Clark, but at 487k, and the dual position's handy as well, I think there is a bit of value in Chris Randall. The middle, so we've decided to go big. So we've got Payne Haas, Isaiah Yeo, and Terrell May. And obviously the big issue with that, you'll notice Terrell May has the bye in round one. So I'm going to talk about how we're going to work through that at the end of this video. But yeah, I think, just given the points that they can churn out, and I think, sort of having a plan for May is going to be a bit of a point of difference. I think everyone's going to fill in their team and then realise that, it's really hard to get him in at 930k. So this is going to be a little bit of a point of difference to try and get an early jump on the competition. On the edges, I've gone with Toby Couchman. Probably going to play prop forward. So probably the edge forward in quotation marks with the biggest base because of his big minutes that he should play in the middle there in the Dragons pack. So I've just locked him away as a season-long keeper. And Dave Fafita. So there is quite a few cheap edge options cropping up. I've got a couple on my bench. Actually got 3 on the bench now that I look at it. But when I looked at the numbers on Dave Fafita, 500k is a steal for what he can do. So I think it's worth the punt to start him and have that extra bit of money in that starting edge position. The halves, so pretty much as before Nathan Cleary, I have gone with Sanders on field. I think I had Sanders Smith originally, and if he is named, it would be very tempting to bring him in. But currently, I do also have Jonah Glover on the bench, which I'll talk about in a minute. So I think, I'm happy enough to start with these guys, particularly if Sanders does get the goal kicking at the Raiders. I think, 350 is even at 350k. If he's got the goal kicking, he should do most of the general play kicking. I think there's great value in that price, and he is a playable option to start the season. And then at the back, so I've currently got Farley at the centre. We're expecting him to get dual position. Jacob Kiraz, there's a bit of chat about him carrying a bit of an injury into the Vegas game. So we'll have to monitor that and see how that progresses. Obviously, he does free up a bit of cash if we do downgrade from him. But at the same time, I don't really know who else I would put in there currently. So in saying that, maybe an option is it's again another injury concern around Tommy Chester. So reports are he's done another part of his knee. The latest one I saw just before recording this video is it's not as bad as maybe it was hyped up originally, and he is still a decent chance of playing in Vegas. But if not, he is currently just a placeholder for Armani, the Titans winger who isn't in the game. Probably won't be until he is named in round one. Um, so yeah, so that's one we've just sort of sit and wait on. There's maybe potentially also Setu too as an option. So I think we're okay with still having the cheap option at wing fullback. Um, and then Tuapiki, I've got him in Super Coach. If he's playing fullback, big fan of him. And then I've also gone with Failongo. So wasn't too sure on this pick. I thought 467k in fantasy wing fullbacks aren't quite there, but there is a little bit of value in the price, and the Storm's draw is pretty good. So if he can get off to a fast start, he could be a nice little bit of cash for us. On the bench, Jesse Colquhoun gets a start at lock for the Sharks, surely. So he will improve on that 347k. Paxton sounds like he's going to get the starting edge role at the Titans, so at 250k, he is in the team. Brandon Smith, so if he can get the starting gig there at the Rabbitohs, 300k is value. Trey Mooney at the Knights, so I probably haven't put this in order, but yeah, surely he gets the starting role there. He can play big minutes, so I think he can definitely be a cash generator. Heelan Lukey, so at 300k on the edge, he's in that position to potentially loop. And I just remembered why I had Trey Mooney there going into this week. Um, so yeah, so I think Lukey is an option. Jonah Glover. So if he gets the starting halfback spot, it is only for 2 weeks, but bottom dollar. You know, maybe doesn't do a lot of the kicking, but there is a bit of chat. He does love a run. There could be a bit of attacking upside there. So, at the moment, I think it's worth the punt. And then Curtis Moore and Ryan Couchman, I guess these guys are just placeholders for a couple of 250k options that crop up just to fit the budget. I think Moran, sorry, will get a spot on the bench of the Titans, and we know that he doesn't play massive minutes. He probably could if you asked him to, but being that smaller body, he is better off being held until the second half. And that footwork and energy against tight defenses could be valuable in that role for the Titans. And Ryan Couchman, so I don't think he starts on the edge. I think he comes off the bench, plays a bit in the middle. I think if he played more last year, he definitely wouldn't be 250k. He definitely wouldn't be as not talked about. But yeah, we've seen what his brother can do. He's probably not that far off. So 250k is an absolute steal, albeit I do have him at the very end of the list, but he could probably push his way a bit further north. So yeah, so that's the team currently. As I said, I do understand the issue is with Terrell May. Um, so basically, the two different options we have. The first one, it does depend on the Vegas games and particularly how Hill and Lukey goes. So if Hill and Lukey goes good, and we were happy to take that score, we could potentially look at a situation, if I can get the button, where we use May to loop in Lukey's score. It seems a bit crazy, but then it does save us a trade. We've got a good score in the bank already, and like I said, we save a trade, and then we've got him for week 2 when he will be playing. Will score quite well for us. The second option, if Lukey doesn't quite work out, it does give us the option of we don't start with May and we don't start with another asset. So whether that's Colquhoun or Mooney, or I guess maybe we could even make it work with one of the cheap guys. All right, but we've then got 1.187. So what we're looking for then is probably a couple of players at around that, 5 to 600k mark that we back for a bit of upside in week 1. So we could look at someone like a Leo Thompson for the Dogs playing against The Dragons are actually, we can't use Thompson because he'll already have played. So we can't use the guys from Vegas. So that rules out the Dogs, the Dragons, the Knights, and the Cowboys. So, what we could do is we could look at, like a real upside pick, like a Tommy Turbo perhaps. We could look at starting Jermaine Hopgood, for example, could be useful. All right, and then we've still got 590k, so we could go again. Like if a Mitch Barnett got up in week one, we could look at that. Um, Trying to think of another option that we like. Maybe like a Siwa Wong, we could have a sneaky crack at. All right, so take your pick on whoever you want. Maybe like Kurt Donahue, we like. And so the idea would be is that these guys would become playable options. So we could play these guys in week one, and then sort of bank that in week two. Hopefully, they don't completely stuff up their cash gen. We could then trade them out, trade in Terrell May, and whatever cheapie that we've missed out on. Hopefully, again, they haven't made too much money because there's not a lot of wiggle room in the budget. But yeah, and then we've got a contingency to get Terrell May in to the team without sort of blowing up the squad. So that's the thought process anyway. Let me know what you think. It might be completely crazy, but again, it's supposed to be fun at the end of the day. So I'll try something different, and if it doesn't work, happy for everyone to laugh me out of the room. But I guess we're playing for it to hopefully work. So I'll just swap Brandon Smith there. Actually, I just realised Trey Mooney's the wrong option for that too because he is playing in Vegas. So I guess you could trade out a Colhoun or whatever to, or swap him out. I mean, to get Terrell May on there to get the loop going. But yeah, let's fix that up real quick. Cool. So yeah, just as well before we wrap it up, a bit of a plug for the leagues. So did see that the first league I set up, the head-to-head league, was getting pretty full. So thank you for everyone who got on board super quickly. It was at 18 out of 20, so I sort of saw an opportunity and just went ahead and created a second league. So and I can already see we've already got one um, take up. I don't know if I can see who's in or what at the moment. Oh, yep, so Sunny, well done for accessing the new link. um, yeah, I just changed the link on the previous video, but I will add it into this one. Or if you want, the league code is there, so it's YYF4M796. But I will just copy the link and put it in the video as the easiest way. The open league, so anyone can join that. The link will be in the description for that as well, so you can join up to both if you like. But I think that's really about it. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Any other questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the NRL Fantasy content. Subscribe for the other fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.